Today we're making crispy noodle with seafood gravy. First you boil the noodles. Typically you want to buy the egg noodles, which are thin. The main reason why I enjoy cooking this and eating it, in fact, is what you want to imagine is you've got your crispy noodles that is then covered with this thick gravy, and for each mouthful of noodles you have, crispy noodles that is, you have a balance of the thick sauce and any accompanying vegetables or meats you want to put in. So now that the noodles have softened and cooked, we can strain them. So once you place the noodles on the tray, you want to spread it out evenly so we can try and dry out the moisture that we've just added to it. Typically, I would boil the noodles maybe an hour or two beforehand and just allow for this natural drying process. Now that our noodles are drying in the corner, we shall prepare our vegetables. So today I've got pak choi. I'm just going to take it off this and then pull out all the necessary bits. We're using carrots today because I think it adds a bit more of a contrast, especially in colour. But it also adds a bit of sweetness and a bit of a crunch. I'll just chop it into small round bits. That should be plenty. Mince some garlic. Just finely chop them. This is what they call a seafood tofu. It's typically used in hot pot. Very popular Chinese dish. It comes in a number of varieties. This is one form, but the most typical one is a fish ball. You can get beef balls, but essentially this is just a paste of fish or prawns, which is pre-made. It's fried in order to allow the outer coating, but I like using this because it's something that I typically find in the freezer. So just checking on the noodles, it's pretty firm and dry now. So what we would do now is place it in the oven. So we've preheated the oven to 180. You can go to 200 if you need, depending on your oven size. Gauge with your serving plate. So in this instance, I don't want to shape it a bit so it fits onto your plate. The end goal is this becomes a crispy nest naturally made by noodles and forms our base for this particular dish. So normally I would leave it in the oven for around 10 minutes. Next we'll prepare the prawns. I've got some fresh prawns here. You can use frozen prawns. So what I'm going to do now is just put them in a bowl and season them ever so slightly. A pinch of salt and some white pepper. Just give it a bit of a mix. You only want a tiny bit of seasoning on there just to enhance the flavour slightly. Most of the flavouring would be coming from the gravy, for which we'll introduce later. So let me turn on the pan. Medium-high heat. Once your pan has heated up, add some oil. And then we shall add our prawns. And that's the noise you want to hear, the sizzle. We're not going to be cooking these prawns for too long. We just want to cook them maybe 80% of its way, and we'll finish the remainder of the cooking in the sauce itself. So now that they're around 80% of the way there, I will just remove them from the heat into a bowl and place to the side. So we're going to continue using this pan, so I'm just going to remove some of the excess oil. And what we're going to do next is pan fry our seafood tofu, just to give it a bit of colour. So again, just to reiterate, you don't need to use seafood tofu or anything. Any form of protein or seafood works quite well. A lot of the restaurants or takeaways would also put things like squid. You can put different types of vegetables, mushrooms, water chestnuts, and even char siu or even Chinese roast pork works really well actually. So I'll flip these over just to get a bit of colouring. Again, these are pre-cooked in the manufacturing plant, so I just want to add that bit of flavour and a bit more added texture to it. Next, we're going to maintain the same wok, add a bit of oil, and we're going to cook our vegetables. Minced garlic, and just stir fry them until they are fragrant. So now the minced garlic has taken some colour, I'm going to put in the pak choi and the carrots and just stir fry them until the moisture has been removed and the pak choi wilts ever so slightly. It's a very minimalistic dish until you end up filming it. Pinch of salt just to try and draw out any of the excess moisture. We're also going to add here some Chinese cooking wine. Just put it on the outside. This is Shaoxing wine. It's used quite commonly in Chinese cooking, so this is adding a bit of the aroma to it, plus the moisture in the liquid naturally helps wilt down the vegetables. So now that your vegetables have wilted down, make sure the garlic isn't burnt. I prepared in advance a dashi from a sachet. This is a Japanese dashi. You could also use chicken stock, vegetable stock and the like. It just adds that extra flavour to it. Now that the stock has come to a boil, we're going to add some oyster sauce. Because we've used the Japanese dashi, it avoids us having to add too much excess seasoning. I'm hoping that the dashi in itself should provide us the umami that we're after. Now that we've placed the oyster sauce in, I shall put the rest of the ingredients, the prawns and the seafood tofu, and just let that simmer and finish off the rest of the prawns. So now that the sauce has fully come to a boil, we're going to add the potato starch. So there's a technique to this. You want to add the potato starch slowly, but you want to move and stir very quickly. So if you can see here now, the potato starch has done its job and it's now thickened. So you can add a dash of dark soy sauce just for a bit of color, a tiny bit of your toasted sesame oil. We're going to break an egg. Turn off the heat. I'm just going to pour the beaten egg on top. What you want to achieve is a slight scrambled egg on the top using the residual heat from the wok. If not, turn it up slightly, but not too hot. Here's the crispy noodles. So as you can see, it's been in the oven for 10 minutes or so. The outside layer has taken its crispiness, but there's still an element of softness in the inside. Place your crispy noodle in the center of the plate. Pour your gravy on. Here we're very generous with our prawns today. Here you have crispy noodles with seafood gravy.